Chosen one, slow down and let your spirit settle for a moment, because what you're about to hear isn't random, and it isn't something you stumbled into by accident. You didn't click on this message because of curiosity or coincidence. You clicked because you were guided. You were positioned. Heaven made sure you didn't miss this moment, because something in your life is getting ready to shift in a very real way. This message is not just another encouraging word. It's not a general statement. It's a spiritual notice. It's a divine update about your next financial season, and the timing of it is perfect. You have been praying, questioning, and trying to understand why things have been moving so slowly. You've been wondering why your effort didn't match your results, and God has been watching every single moment, every struggle, every sacrifice. Nothing has been ignored. Nothing slipped past heaven. When God moves in a person's financial life, it rarely begins with actual money. It starts with a spiritual shift. Before a single number changes in your bank account, something changes in your atmosphere. Before any deposit reaches you, heaven adjusts something in the unseen realm. That is what's happening right now. The spiritual shift is already underway, and this message is part of it. For a long time, you carried weight you were never meant to carry alone. You stretched yourself in ways that most people would never understand. You kept going even when you were tired of being strong. You stayed faithful even when life didn't give you much to work with. And you planted seeds when it looked like you barely had anything left to give. God saw all of it. Heaven kept record of every unseen act you made. The pressure you've been under wasn't punishment. It was preparation. The delays were not rejection. They were recalculations. God was lining things up so that when the shift arrived, nothing would be able to block it or take it away. And now heaven is signaling that the season you've been waiting for is finally opening. This message is not meant to scare you, but to prepare you. A financial intervention is coming. Not quiet, not gentle, not slow. It will be clear, direct, and undeniable. Stay with me, chosen one. What comes next will explain why your financial situation had to break before it could be rebuilt. Chosen one, I need you to understand something many people overlook. Financial breakthroughs don't begin where everyone thinks they do. They don't start with an opportunity, a job offer, a new client, or a lucky moment. They begin in the spirit. They begin when heaven decides the timing is right and the preparation is complete. That shift is already in motion for you. You may have noticed small signs around you, nothing dramatic, but small changes in how you feel, how you think, or how your spirit responds to things. Maybe you've felt more aware. Maybe you've felt a strange pull to pray more, rest more, reorganize, or separate yourself from certain people. Maybe you've felt uncomfortable in old routines, almost like your spirit outgrew them. These are signs that heaven has been adjusting your atmosphere. Before anything touches your bank account, heaven touches your path. Before anything increases around you, God clears what doesn't belong. That's why you've seen certain things fall apart. That's why some doors closed even though you wanted them open. God wasn't ignoring you. He was protecting you from walking into places that couldn't support your blessing. Financial pressure has been heavy on you, but heaven never expected you to carry it alone. You've been fighting battles most people don't even know about. You handled moments that others couldn't survive. You endured seasons that looked impossible, and even when your faith was tired, you still held on. That alone is proof that you are marked for breakthrough. People without purpose give up easily. Chosen ones endure. You've sown effort, time, money, faith, and energy. You gave in silence. You obeyed in silence. You believed in silence, and God saw every moment. Nothing disappeared into the dark. Every seed you planted was accounted for, even when it felt like it didn't matter. What you call delay, heaven calls strategy. God needed certain things to settle before your release could come. He needed certain people removed. He needed certain habits broken. He needed your spirit sharpened so that once the blessing reached you, you would be ready to handle it. And now heaven is preparing something that will not just patch the holes in your life, but completely rebuild what was damaged. Your season of survival is ending. Your season of supernatural supply is beginning. Something is about to shift, and it will be obvious when it happens. I'll explain why heaven kept you waiting and what that waiting actually accomplished in your life. Chosen one of the hardest lessons is accepting that waiting does not mean you were forgotten. Waiting does not mean the blessing was cancelled. Waiting often means the blessing needed more time to grow roots before it could be placed in your hands. That's exactly what happened in your life. You spent a long season wondering why things were moving so slowly. You questioned your own decisions, your own abilities, your own prayers. You tried to push, stretch, pull, and force things to happen, but nothing responded the way you hoped. That wasn't failure. It was timing. Heaven kept things on hold because the wrong version of your life was still attached to you. Think back to the people you used to trust, the environments you were part of, the distractions that used to drain you. If your breakthrough had come during those times, it would have been taken, misused, or wasted. God didn't hold your blessing back to punish you. He held it back to protect it. Every closed door, every delayed moment, every silent season had purpose. It created strength in you that you didn't have before. It sharpened your ability to discern. It taught you who belongs in your life and who doesn't. It forced you to learn how to rely on God more than your own understanding. Sometimes you can only appreciate a blessing after you've lived without it long enough to value it correctly. Heaven allowed pressure but not destruction, stress but not collapse, storms but not defeat. You bent but did not break. That alone shows the kind of power God placed inside you. Nothing you went through was wasted. Every tear watered something. Every prayer planted something. Every quiet night birthed something. You were being shaped for a blessing that would require maturity, responsibility, and spiritual strength. Heaven didn't want you to receive something big and lose it because you weren't ready. So God stretched your patience so your blessing could be permanent. Now the waiting is shifting. You're stepping into the season where the seeds you planted in tears will return as blessings you receive in joy. Heaven is preparing to touch your finances in a way that reflects all the silent battles you fought. Stay with me, because I'll reveal the moment heaven began preparing your financial breakthrough. Chosen one, there were moments in your journey when you felt invisible. You gave when you didn't have much. You helped when no one helped you. You stood strong even when your own needs were heavy. You weren't loud about your struggles. You weren't dramatic about your pain. You didn't broadcast your battles. You kept going quietly, believing that somehow your sacrifice mattered. And heaven took note. God pays attention to the things other people overlook. The world sees success after it shows up. Heaven sees the preparation long before it appears. God watched you stay faithful in seasons that offered nothing back. He saw you handle responsibility with a pure heart, even when no one applauded you. He saw you stay obedient under pressure. Your silent strength was recorded. Your unseen generosity was recorded. Your private prayers were recorded. You didn't lose anything. Every seed had a destiny. Many times, chosen ones suffer silently because they carry spiritual weight for their families, their communities, and their bloodline. You had to push through things others never would have survived. You broke cycles, patterns, and emotional burdens that didn't start with you, but would have continued if you didn't stand against them. Heaven honors that kind of courage. And because of that, heaven assigned a financial shift to your future. God didn't choose you randomly. He chose you because he saw your consistency. He saw your heart. He saw that you could be trusted with more. For too long, you've been in a season where you had to stretch what wouldn't stretch. You made impossible situations work. You found strength with almost nothing to stand on. You didn't quit, even when quitting felt like the easier choice. And those moments built spiritual credit. Heaven is now preparing to return it with interest. What's coming to you is not a light blessing. It's not a small answer. It's not a half-finished miracle. It is a full intervention. God is preparing to touch your finances in a way that reflects everything you've endured behind the scenes. I'll show you how this financial shift is already moving toward you, even if you don't see it yet. Chosen one, I want you to understand this clearly. Breakthroughs don't appear suddenly. They build in stages. They grow in silence. They begin in the spirit long before they show up in the physical. That's exactly what has been happening around you these past weeks and months. You may not have seen money increasing, but you probably sensed your spirit changing. You may not have seen blessings arriving, but you felt something shifting inside you. That's how financial interventions begin. They start with spiritual alignment. They start with God adjusting your mindset, your environment, your relationships, and your focus. Think about it. You've been feeling pulled away from certain people who drain you. You've been feeling uncomfortable in old cycles that once felt normal. You've been wanting to organize your life, clean up your space, set new goals, or distance yourself from old habits. That's not random. That's heaven repositioning your life for increase. God will never send a blessing into a space that isn't prepared to hold it. He will always clean the path before he sends the breakthrough. That's why certain things had to fall apart. You weren't losing your life. You were losing what couldn't go with you into your next season. Your spirit has been feeling the shift because heaven has already started it. Some blessings approach long before they arrive. You can feel them before you see them. And that's what's happening right now. The pressure you've been under is not a sign of defeat. It's a sign of transition. Think of a seed that pushes through the soil. Everything cracks before it grows. Everything feels tight before it expands. Everything feels heavy before it rises. Your life has been going through that same process. Heaven is preparing a financial change that will not just help you survive. It will help you breathe again. It will help you rebuild again. It will help you walk in peace again. And the shift is already at your doorstep. Keep listening, because I'll explain exactly how heaven plans to touch your bank account and why it's happening now. Chosen one, God is not sending a small blessing. He isn't sending a temporary moment of relief. Heaven is preparing a direct financial intervention. Something is about to hit your bank account that reflects the weight of what you've carried. But before you see numbers change, heaven always releases an instruction. That's the part many people ignore. A blessing without direction can be wasted. A breakthrough without guidance can be misused. That's why God always speaks before he blesses. This message is part of that instruction. God wants you to be mentally and spiritually ready for the increase that's coming. Because this time, the blessing won't slip through your fingers. It won't disappear as soon as you get it. It won't drain you. It will build you. For too long, you carried financial pressure that you were never meant to handle alone. You took responsibility for things that drained you. You tried to fix problems that weren't yours. You tried to manage battles without support. Heaven saw that. And now God is stepping in. Heaven is preparing to touch your bank account in a noticeable way. Not quietly, not subtly, not gradually. The shift will be strong enough that you know it didn't come from your strength. It came from God. Some of the blessings coming to you will arrive through expected places, but many will arrive unexpectedly. God can use opportunities, refunds, open doors, gifts, new connections, sudden approvals, unexpected promotions, divine timing, or even long-delayed blessings suddenly being released. Heaven has millions of ways to shift your finances. And God has already chosen the one meant for you. This isn't about luck. This isn't about coincidence. This is about timing. Heaven waited until the exact moment your heart, mind, and path were aligned for increase. That moment is now. Stay with me, because the next will reveal why your struggle was so intense right before this breakthrough. Chosen one, think back to the last few months. The pressure increased. The stress grew. The obstacles multiplied. You felt like you were being pushed to your limit. Nothing seemed stable. Nothing seemed predictable. It felt like everything hit at once. That wasn't a sign that God abandoned you. It was a sign that your breakthrough was close. Pressure intensifies right before release. Storms hit hard right before seasons change. The enemy attacks most fiercely right before God moves. You weren't being crushed. You were being positioned. The financial stress you faced wasn't just about money. It was spiritual resistance. When heaven prepares to release something significant, darkness tries to distract, discourage, and disrupt you so you won't recognize what's coming. That's why the battles increased. That's why you felt tired. That's why things got chaotic. But you didn't fold. You didn't quit. You didn't walk away. That alone shows how chosen you are. Many people would have given up. You didn't, and heaven honors that. Now the pressure is lifting. The heaviness is breaking. The atmosphere around you is clearing. Something new is opening, and it will show up in your finances first. The battles you fought were not wasted. The struggle was the final signal that your breakthrough was almost here. I'll tell you exactly what to do so you don't miss what heaven is about to release. Chosen one, this last part is important. Before a blessing arrives, heaven always gives a final instruction. This isn't pressure, it's preparation. God doesn't want you to miss what he's sending or mishandle it once it arrives. Here is your instruction. Stay alert, stay expectant, and stay aligned. Don't let fear distract you. Don't let old habits pull you back. Don't let negative thoughts convince you that nothing is changing. Something is changing. Something is shifting. Something is approaching. Your mind needs to be ready so that when the blessing shows up, you recognize it immediately. Your heart needs to be steady so that you won't sabotage what God is giving you. Your spirit needs to stay open so that you can continue hearing God clearly. Heaven is getting ready to touch your finances in a noticeable way. The blessing is already on its way. The shift has already started. The pressure you felt was only the sign that release was near. Now is the moment to stand in agreement with the word God placed in your spirit. Believe it, receive it, expect it, speak it, and move like someone who knows change is near. And for those who are feeling this message deeply, continue showing up with faith. Continue staying connected to the place where God speaks to you. Continue preparing your life for the breakthrough you've prayed for. Your bank account will not remain where it is. Your financial life will not stay stuck. God is stepping in. Heaven is moving. The blessing is on assignment. This is your moment.